Welcome back to Pace Immigration, paceimmigration.com. Talking today with Vince Lalonde from Pace Immigration. He's the director of immigration there. Vince, how's it going?
Not bad. How about you?
Yeah, it's great to see you. So today we're talking about a very popular program. I know you're excited about it. A lot of people use it. A lot of people on your team use it and help their clients with it. The government of Antigua and Barbuda Citizenship by Investment Program. We'll jump right in by saying that, of course, Antigua and Barbuda, the location, as you can see there with the red arrow, southeast of the Dominican Republic. It's right near Puerto Rico, a very popular program, Citizenship by Investment. Vince, tell us a bit about this program.
Yeah, so I think the first thing that you said is really important. I mean, this program has been around for a long time. We've used it a lot for our clients over the years. I spent a number of years in East Asia, as you know, and it was one of the programs that we promoted the most. We had a lot of clients going to Antigua and Barbuda. Really popular program because it's a really great passport. Okay, if you're from a country that maybe doesn't have such a great passport, like China or Egypt or maybe Nigeria, you can get this passport relatively cheaply, relatively quickly, and that frees up travel to 140 countries in the world visa free. So it's something that's been out there on the market for a long time, and there's tons of information about the program online. We've done webinars about it. Our website is full of information. I mean, everybody's been promoting this for years and years, so it's nothing new. But the reason I wanted to talk about it today again was that we're seeing a little bit of a shift. We're seeing more and more Canadians and Americans applying for this program. And the reasons that Canadians and Americans apply for the Antigua passport are a little bit different from the reasons that maybe someone from, like I said, East Asia or the Middle East or Africa might apply for this passport. So that's kind of what I'm going to be talking about a little bit today. These two slides, like talking a little bit about Antigua, usually for this stuff, the population, the languages. If I'm talking to clients from China or from Vietnam, I just kind of skim over this stuff because a lot of those clients, they just want the passport. They don't really plan on spending or living in Antigua or spending any time there. But I think what we're seeing with the Canadian American clients is a little bit different. You're seeing people who really do want to go to Antigua and Barbuda and spend time there and live there. Maybe not the whole year, but like a percentage of the year, half the year or whatever, have a second home there and spend time there. So actually this information about the country is a little bit more important. So I'll spend a little bit of time on it. First of all, the population, 97,000. It's the size of Sudbury. I don't know if you've been to Sudbury, Sean.
I have, and Antigua's quite a bit warmer than Sudbury too.
A little bit warmer, a little bit, yeah. But the important thing to remember here is that you're part of this Eastern Caribbean Organization of Eastern Caribbean States. So there's a number of countries in the Eastern Caribbean. They share a currency, and they have agreements where there's free movement of labor between the countries. So when you're in Antigua, you meet lots of people from Dominica, from St. Kitts, people from other Caribbean countries go there and work, and there's a lot of movement between these countries. So Antigua itself isn't a big country, but it's part of this. It's almost like the EU. I mean, it's a small version of the EU because they have this, common currency and movement of people between the different islands. So you don't feel like you're isolated there or anything. Also, it's English-speaking country. It's a former British colony, so they've got the same legal system basically that we do, the common law system, the same type of government, parliamentary system, very stable, very high standard of living. There's not a lot of crime in Antigua. I know that there's, when I was a kid, and probably you as well, most Canadians, if they wanted to retire somewhere warm, they would go to Florida, right? And then there's been a little bit of a shift in the last couple of years. People are expanding their horizons, and you see a lot of people retiring in Mexico or in Panama. That's another popular one. Those places are great, but there is, Mexico is a great country, Panama is a great country, but if you look at the statistics, they do have a little bit more crime than you would see, let's say, in Antigua or Barbuda. So very safe country, and probably the most important thing is what you mentioned at the beginning. I mean, the sunshine and the weather. This is like when Canadians imagine a tropical island paradise. I mean, this is what you're thinking of Antigua: the beaches, the sunshine, the beautiful weather year round. So, just a really nice place to visit. And probably a lot of people listening today have actually been to Antigua for holiday. But, now it's time to think about it as maybe a retirement destination or someplace, to spend, a good chunk of the year.
Yeah, you've had clients approach you about Antigua and Barbuda before. What do you think separates this? Well, I guess we can get into that a little bit further, but in terms of the place itself, what separates this from a lot of the other citizenship by investment programs that are out there?
Yeah, that's a good point. I mean, a lot of, and nothing against any of the other citizenship by investment programs. They're all great options, and there are a number of them. So St. Kitts has a citizenship by investment program, St. Lucia, Grenada, what am I forgetting? Dominica. So there's a few of them in there. Antigua Barbuda, I think one of the big advantages is it's a hub. It's a transportation and a cultural hub in the Eastern Caribbean. So I think it's probably the biggest airport in that region is in Antigua and Barbuda. If you're flying in from Europe, let's say, and you're going to St. Kitts, you probably have to go to Antigua first and then transfer out. So they've got internet. I've flown London to Antigua. They have flights, I think, from Paris to Antigua, New York, Miami, obviously, Toronto. So they have a big airport there. It's a hub. It's also like a cultural hub or an economic hub in the Eastern Caribbean. A lot of financial institutions have their headquarters here for the region, and there's great universities here as well. Really good hospitals. So I think it has some advantages over some of the other places in the Eastern Caribbean that you could apply for citizenship through.
Okay, so that's the highlights of the place itself. Let's drill down into how to acquire Antigua and Barbuda citizenship to give you access to these 140 plus countries around the world. It looks like there's 3 options here on the slide. If you'd go through them for people, that'd be great.
Sure, yeah. So there's basically the contribution to the National Development Fund. That's basically a donation to the government. There's the purchase of real estate option, and there's also the option to establish a business. The first 2 are by far the most popular. And I would say usually when I'm dealing, again, with international clients, like people who don't really plan on spending a lot of time in Antigua Barbuda, they just want the passport, then the first option, the contribution to the National Development Fund, is definitely the most popular option. Because, if you don't plan on spending a lot of time there, you probably don't want to buy real estate and have to maintain that real estate or worry about selling it later on, or renting it out, or hiring a property manager to take care of it for you. So definitely the contribution to the National Development Fund is popular with our clients from, let's say, the Middle East or East Asia or Africa. But the real estate option is also a really good option. And you can see here that it's only a $200,000 US investment. That was a lot higher a few years ago. Actually, it started off at like the 400,000 level, and then it's come down over the years. I don't think it's going to go lower than 200,000. So don't wait and hope it's going to come down further, because I think that's as low as it can go. I mean, 200,000 and you get a passport. Come on, like, how much cheaper can it be?
It's a pretty good deal.
Yeah, I think that option, that real estate option, is really like a good option for people actually from Canada and the US. Because a lot of our Canadian US clients, it's not that far of a flight. Like, it's a 4-hour flight from Toronto. You can spend a lot of time down there. You go down there for a long weekend if you wanted to, like 4 hours, come on the flight. Like, if you're driving up to the Muskokas, you spend 4 hours in traffic, so it's not that far, and, obviously getting out to Pearson isn't fun. But once you're in Antigua, I mean, it's not very big. You get out of the airport and 10 minutes, 15 minutes, you're at your villa on the beach or whatever. It's really, really easy. So, if you're coming from Canada and you want to spend some time living there anyways, then maybe think about the real estate option.
Okay, so we've covered the National Development Fund contribution, which sounds pretty easy. I mean, you're basically handing over some cash and you're getting something for it.
Yeah.
You've got the real estate option where conceivably you could live or rent it out or something like that if you wanted to make an investment in real estate. And then we have something which might be a little more tricky, establishing a business, and it looks like it can't just be any business. So if you could clarify some of that.
Yeah, I won't get into that too much because it is, like you said, it's a little bit more complicated. Like, out of the three options, establishing a business, maintaining a business, we have the same thing in Canada. We have these kind of entrepreneur type programs where you have to come here and set up a business here. It's quite tricky, and it's a big time commitment. So, it is an option for the right kind of client, but Antigua is not a huge country. The market is not big. You can't just go down there and open any kind of business you want to. You have to really give it some thought. And that's something that we could definitely explore with the clients. Like, if they want to look at that option a little bit more, then, we can help facilitate that business establishment in the Caribbean. But yeah, it's definitely a more involved option. I think it's probably not for everybody.
Okay, so we've covered some of the options, but of course, you don't get something for nothing in this world. We've got some fees and processing times here. Let's go over the fees and the processing, but maybe we should jump down really quickly just to that one question. Who is eligible to apply? So before going too far down a road, maybe people are asking, can I even do it?
Yeah, it's really open. Like, I mean, I know this is something we talk about with our Canadian clients or people who are interested in applying for Canada. We have to check your language, we have to check your management experience, we have to check, your background, your accumulation of funds. The Antigua program is much more accepting of people from different backgrounds. There's no language test, there's no management experience requirement. There's very little. The government will conduct a due diligence on every applicant and their family members, and there's a fee for that. It's $7,500 US dollars for that due diligence background check that's done by a third party. But really, they're focused more on whether you have, let's say, a criminal record or you have any legal issues. They're not really focused on that nitty-gritty management experience or whether you're going to be a good fit for the country. As long as you have a clean criminal record, you don't have any major medical issues. They're pretty open to people from all different backgrounds. But the other thing that I wanted to mention, there's maybe another slide about this, is that in terms of eligibility, for Canada, for example, the U.S., when you're talking about who can go with you on the application, you talk about your immediate family members. Like, for Canada and the U.S. as well, it's your spouse and your children up to the age of 21, basically. For Antigua and Barbuda, you can have, you can bring your parents. Okay, so if your parents are over, sort of 55 and over, they can come with you on the application, and your children up to the age of 30. Okay, so you're talking about, the definition of family in Antigua is a lot broader than the definition of family in Canada. So you could have 3 generations going to Antigua, all getting their citizenship under a single application, basically.
Okay, so that's who can apply and who they can bring, but then there's some fees involved. Maybe we can go over these quick. I mean, yeah, from my mind, if people are contributing to the National Development Fund or investing in real estate, these fees are kind of a drop in the bucket, aren't they?
Yeah, I mean, they're significant. It's higher than the fees for Canada. But if you add it up, so just for example, the processing fees are $30,000 for a family of up to 4 people for the National Development Fund, and it's the same thing for the real estate option. Okay, and there's maybe some additional fees if you go over 4 people, $15,000 for each additional applicant. Okay, but if you add up the processing fees plus the contribution, either the real estate contribution or the donation to the National Development Fund, it's still really cheap by international citizenship, by investment, or golden visa program standards. Right. If you look at other programs in Europe or in North America, I mean, this is a bargain, really. Even after you add on the processing fees. And actually, to that end, the processing fees used to be higher. They've kind of structured them in a way that it's a lot easier to digest now. So yeah, the processing fees are there, but all in all, the total cost of the program is, considering you're getting this fantastic passport, it's really, really very reasonable.
The big draw for me, Vince, is this application processing time and residency requirement. I mean, this is incredible. 60 to 9, and within 90 days, you can have the passport in your hand.
Yeah. Yeah, especially like for us in Canada here, me as a Canadian immigration lawyer, I mean, you talk about nothing gets done in 60 to 90 days in Canada, and the U.S. is the same thing right now. So yeah, I mean, it's just unheard of really in terms of international citizenship by investment programs. So once you've got all the paperwork together, that could take a little bit of time to get all the paperwork together. But even that's not bad considering, like compared to, like I said, the Canadian or U.S. programs, the applications are relatively straightforward. So it's going to be a lot easier to gather those documents that you need to submit the application in the first place. And then once you've submitted it, yeah, it's just a matter of months or weeks even, to get your citizenship.
Yeah, and I notice here the 5 days and 5 years residency requirement. I think that surprises a lot of people that are new to the concept of citizenship by investment, that they don't have to live there, say, 8 months out of the year or something.
Yeah, that's right. You don't have to live there very long. And actually, like, I mean, if some people, and again, this is maybe a little bit of an issue. It could be an issue, I guess, if you have clients from a country that's very far away from Antigua, like to go there and spend 5 days there in 5 years. I mean, it's nothing, but maybe some people didn't plan on spending any time there. For clients from Canada or the US, this is nothing. It's easy to meet this requirement. And actually, the requirement has been suspended right now. I think if you get your citizenship before 2023, there's a slide about it a little bit later on. But yeah, this requirement has actually been suspended right now.
And as you mentioned it, sure enough, so we've got here some updates and the Citizenship by Investment Unit is what they call it down in Antigua, the folks that look after this stuff. We've got a bunch of changes here if you want to go over some of the highlights here for us, Vince.
Yeah, I won't go through all of these, but you can see that's what I was mentioning before. The application fee actually for the real estate option has been reduced. Okay, so this is, they're $30,000 for the application fee is a lot, but it's actually come down from what it used to be. They're making the real estate option a lot more flexible than what it was before. So you can see a lot of these changes involve the real estate option. You're able to resell the property after 5 years to a new citizenship by investment applicant. Okay, so that kind of expands the pool of potential buyers for your property if you do plan on selling it after the required 5-year period. There's some other changes that, like I talked about what a great passport this is. They're always expanding the list of countries that they have visa-free agreements with. Recently, they added New Zealand, Australia. They're talking to Canada, but you don't have to worry about Canada too much. I mean, if you have an Antigua passport and you want to come into Canada, then it's really easy to get a visa. I mean, you still need a visa, but it's really easy to get a multiple entry 10-year visa. So it's not really an issue, even though it's not technically visa-free to come into Canada. It's almost like it's visa-free. And then, yeah, you can see there I've got the suspension of the 5-day visit requirement for another 12 months that just got extended. So basically anyone who has a passport expiring on or before February 28, 2023 now can apply for renewal without that mandatory 5-day visit.
Excellent. And we'll just carry on with the tax and wealth management stuff. This is the stuff that means a lot to people too, because you've got zero personal income, and I made sure to highlight that zero, which is a big draw. Maybe go into this for us. Yeah,
so this is where I want to get in a little bit to the advantages of this program for Canadians, because you don't really need the passport. Maybe on some level, like the Canadian passport is one of the best passports in the world. So most Canadians who are applying for the Antigua program are not applying because they want to have this passport. Most of them are applying for other reasons, and one of the big reasons is this tax and wealth management angle. Zero personal income tax, inheritance tax, capital gains, okay, only value-added tax when you're buying things, okay, and tax on corporate income. So if you're able to become an Antiguan tax resident, if you're able to spend enough time down there that you're a tax resident of Antigua and not a Canadian tax resident, then you are going to save massive amounts of money because you don't have to pay that personal income tax. It's also Antigua, like I mentioned at the beginning, if you go down there are Canadian banks everywhere, like Scotiabank, CIBC, RBC. They all have branches down there. So from a wealth management angle, it's a really easy place to manage your money, to keep your money, and really, like, if you're talking about retiring somewhere where you can really stretch your dollars and maximize your income, boy, you couldn't ask for a better place than Antigua.
All right, some more program benefits for Canadians. We've got a transportation hub as well as sailing and yachting. Basically, it's an easy place to get to and a nice place to live.
Yeah, so I mentioned the transportation hub thing a little bit before. It's the primary airport for the area. Okay, so you can fly direct to Europe, North America, South America. It's also a big sailing and yachting hub in the world. Actually, they have one of the biggest international sailing, the Antigua Sailing Week. So it's a big festival that they have every year, and it attracts people from all over the world. So that's another thing that I should probably mention. Like, 97,000 people is the permanent population of Antigua. Okay, but if you're talking about tourists, people visiting, people coming from around the world, it's a lot higher than that. When you're there, it doesn't feel, it feels very international, because you've got people coming from all over the world all year long. And especially, I've been there during the International Sailing Week, and it's huge. I mean, you see these like yachts like you've never seen before, these massive yachts, and people from all over the world. It's just a really fun, lively atmosphere.
No, I can attest to that. I worked on cruise ships back in the day. Oh. We stopped in Antigua a lot, and we had a blast. Great golf. There's a casino there. You can go and have a good time. There's all kinds of stuff going on. It's a lot of fun. I love the place.
Sure. Yeah.
Yeah. So some more program benefits when we get down to real estate. You've got it here that, hey, you can get a place for less than the price of your cottage, and you get some citizenship out of it.
That's right. Yeah. So, I mean, like I was saying at the beginning, I mean, a 4-hour flight to Antigua, you could have a home there. It's something to think about. I mean, I love the Muskokas. I love going up there and, spending the summers, the long summer nights, a lake and in the Muskokas. But, this is something else to think about. I mean, 200,000 is not very much for a property in Antigua, and like I said, a tropical paradise. You can be there in 4 hours, and you can go year round, right? You can go there in the winter, you can go there in the summer. The weather's nice all year, so you're not confined to those summer months. And it's part of the program. I mean, it's not like you have to make the investment and then buy real estate on top of that. If you want to, buy real estate anyways, then you just get your citizenship almost as an added bonus.
Can you help out with the real estate, by the way? I mean, how does it work when people want to go the real estate route? Do you help them find a place, or how does that work?
Yeah, like I've been to Antigua many times. We're able to guide people on that. I know a lot of the developments. For the Antigua program, you have to invest in designated real estate. So there are approved projects that have been approved for Citizenship by Investment program. The list of approved projects is growing every year. So there's a real variety of options available. And we can help people with that. We can guide clients. We've been down there with clients before, helping them look at real estate. So definitely something we can help with.
Excellent. And just so this is required documents, we can gloss over this a little bit. I know it's in fine print, but
too much. But it's the basic stuff. It's the stuff that you see with any type of application: passports, birth certificates, marriage certificates, the photos, the health test, police reports, that kind of stuff. So, we can get into this with the clients when we're putting the application together. But, all I need to say is that it's nothing surprising on this list. And it's a lot shorter list than we have for the Canadian clients, let's say.
Yeah, if you could just touch on really quick, because one thing that struck me for, like you were saying, for children 18 to 20, it's just a proof of studies. So they need to be down there as full-time students. Is that right?
Yeah, they don't need to be full-time students, but they do need to be dependents. Okay. So if they are dependent on the principal applicant, then that's going to be sufficient. Okay. So proving dependence is a little bit, there's different ways to do that, but we can get into that with the clients, and it's not a really onerous requirement.
Excellent. Okay, Vince, if you had to sum it up, maybe give us your 30-second sum-up highlights of the Antigua and Barbuda program and why it's a great citizenship by investment program.
Yeah, so again, I mean, one thing I just want to add is see at the top here, we're actually an approved authorized representative for the Antigua and Citizenship by Investment program. So if you go onto the government's website, you see Pace Law Firm on there. We're approved to represent the program basically to clients. Very familiar with the program. But, the great thing about this program is that it's for everybody. It's for people from any corner of the world, because there are so many reasons, so many benefits to applying for the program. The tax angle, the weather, the the passport, that really doesn't matter where you're from. If you're from China, or you're from Nigeria, or you're from Canada or the US, there's something in this program for everybody. And the fact that the cost is so reasonable, the processing times are so reasonable, it's like, why not? Why not apply for this and get this passport?
Excellent. And you can reach Vince to find out more information about this and get the process started at vlalonde@pacelawfirm.com, or contact him at the number you see on the screen, and he'd be more than happy to help you. Thanks for stopping by, Vince. We'll talk to you again soon.
Thanks, Sean. It's been fun.